Commercial patterns suck. Let me tell you what I do instead to make patterns that fit me perfectly every time in designs that are uniquely mine. And it's easy.
I've always had trouble finding clothes that fit me properly because I'm extremely tall. Then after my kids were born, I gained weight, made it even more difficult. So I began making my own clothes. But commercial patterns have similar problems in that every pattern making company has a different fit. The sizes don't align to what you're used to. So after I would spend all this time and money sewing up something from a commercial pattern, I'd have to do a lot of alterations, and then I just wasn't happy with the end result. So I decided to learn pattern making, and it's actually so much easier than many people think. And I'd like to tell you some of the advantages of making your own patterns rather than relying on the commercial pattern makers. If you spend a weekend making your own block, it's so much better than having to struggle with every pattern you make in terms of fit and finding a design that you like. So I am a proponent of fit once, and then it's so much fun to make all your own designs moving forward. Getting your own pattern block is key. You can buy one, you can get a fitting shell, you can make one of your own. I'm a proponent of making one of your own, but any of these ways are great, and just so you have that block in order to have a structure to begin each pattern with, and you know it's going to fit you perfectly. I hear a lot of myths with pattern making, and I'd like to talk about a few of those. Myth number one is pattern making is too hard. Nope, that's wrong. It's a lot easier than you would think. And once you grasp the basics and follow some simple instructions, you can go through and make a beautiful pattern that fits you perfectly. I think the key to it is taking really good measurements. And I do think that making a block with more measurements is better than a block with just 3 measurements, because then you're really not going to get a very good fit. So when I make my block, I use about 25 to 30 measurements. So I use a lot, and it comes out really great. So then the fit becomes much easier as you're creating your toile after you've created the block. Myth number 2, it's only for skilled designers. And again, that's completely false. There's no education that you need. You don't need to go to fashion school. You can just, read some books, take a course, a lot of YouTube videos that give you information on it. And, once you get a little practice and familiarity with the process, it's quite easy. Myth number 3 is you have to start from scratch every single time. Not true. I think the number one advantage of having a block is that you start from a base every time that fits you. So then you just add the design elements that you'd like, and voila, you have a beautiful garment that fits you perfectly in any style that you want. Myth number 4, it requires a lot of tools. You do not need a lot of tools, and you may have a lot of them already on hand. You really only need 3 basic things: measuring tape, some paper, which you can use wrapping paper, and a ruler. There's other things that are optional and are nice to have, but if you have those 3 things, you can get started immediately. Myth number 5, it's a time-consuming process. Absolutely not. With clear step-by-step instructions, you follow along and you can make one rather quickly. Then there's the second step of making sure it fits. That can be a little bit of a back and forth, but again, one weekend, I think you can get it all completed. And the advantage is it'll save you time on every garment moving forward, because you have a perfectly fitting starting point to your garment. Myth number 6, commercial patterns are enough. Regular patterns are one size fits all, or what I like to say, one size fits none. So commercial patterns, it's very challenging finding the design you want, and then every pattern maker has a different fit, so you're constantly making alterations and it's quite frustrating. So in my opinion, commercial patterns are not good. To summarize, the advantage of creating your own block is customization. You can make clothes that fit you perfectly, creative freedom. You'll get to create and make clothes that are unique to you. You can save money from buying all those patterns, since you really only need some spare paper that's around to make a new pattern each time. So it helps the environment because you don't have all these patterns around. And it's really fun to improve your skills and really become a designer as you're designing each of your garments instead of the pattern making company designing your garments. So all you need is one weekend and the ability to follow some few simple steps to create your own block. I'm actually writing a book right now on pattern drafting that will be available very soon. It's called Drafting Dreams, Mastering the Art of Pattern Making. You can get an excerpt from my book here, or I'll also link it down in the description, and you can sign up to get notified when the book is published. This is my first video on this channel, so I'd appreciate if you would subscribe and click the bell so you get notified of all my future videos. Thank you for joining me today, and remember, with a little creativity and determination, you can create clothes that truly reflect your unique style and fit you perfectly. Until next time, happy sewing.